Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark Headbutt Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay Too Easy Cluett. And this is Deep Blue Sea 3, Chapter 10. What happens in Deep Blue Sea 3, Chapter 10? Let me tell you. As she tries to come to terms with the loss of Mia Spin and the explosive sacrifice of Shaw right in front of her, Dr. Emma Collins' morning is cut short when Lucas, in very bad shape, appears behind her with a knife and a shredded V-neck. He slashes Emma across the arm and the torso and holds the knife against her face before exclaiming, "Too easy!" setting the knife down and opting to drown Emma with his bare hands instead. As he does so, Nandy appears, yells, "Hey asshole!" at Lucas and throws a spear but misses. As Nandy gears up to throw her second spear, Emma lunges in with a headbutt to Lucas's face, grabs his knife and plunges it into his heart. Lucas struggles on, but Emma rallies and knocks it in further, causing Lucas to stumble and fall, face first, into the water, this time definitely dead. Limping and clutching the wound at her side, Emma spots the final bull shark, Scarface, swimming in the bay, and the trash compactor, dislodged, half-submerged and empty. She causes a commotion to attract the shark and leads it into the compactor, but the hatch she planned to exit through is blocked, so she finds herself trapped in a small metal box with a very big shark. She alternates between painfully punching the shark's nose and beating at the door, finally succeeding in opening it just enough to get her hand through to operate the compactor. Emma apologises to the shark before pressing the big red button, causing the compactor to slowly compress the shark. Understandably, this greatly distresses the shark, who begins to thrash wildly, causing the compactor to come loose and sink further, making Emma lose her grip on the button. Now, fully underwater, Emma holds the button down with one hand and kicks ferociously at the shark's face until, finally, the shark explodes in a cloud of blood and viscera that Emma is stuck in. Nandy prizes the hatch open and carries Emma out, and the two sail off in Nandy's boat, reminiscing on the now sunken Little Happy. After Great White Sally bids Emma a farewell, Nandy spots a familiar cabinet floating in the sea. They head over to it, and Emma reaches over to look inside, only for Mia to spring out, terrified and brandishing a knife. They hug in disbelief and make a plan to head for civilization. That's what happens in Deep Blue Sea 3 Chapter 10. It's the last action chapter of the film.
Oof.
We need someone to help us talk about this. Mark, who's joining us for this chapter?
Well, this is a perfect guest because it's our resident shark movie expert. It's Kevin Culp, and he's back.
That's Kevin Exploding Shark Culp, I think. It was either that or Kevin Crash Compactor Culp. It's sort of a toss-up, I think. It's good to be back. I had so much fun doing Deep Blue Sea 2. I really appreciate it.
And, we had to have you back. And since then, your Reddit list has expanded. It's grown. You've watched more You've watched more shark movies. And since you came on to talk to us about Deep Blue Sea 2, which is about a billionaire trying to prevent a robo-apocalypse, we just wanted to have you back for this one, which is a relatively is this a grounded shark movie?
I think it's more grounded than 2.
There it is, a more grounded
shark movie, sure. I am now up to 108 different shark movies since April 2020.
Nice.
Wow.
So we're making good progress. Deep Blue Sea 3 comes in at number 20 out of 108. It is a fine movie.
You know what's interesting, too, is all of this are different. There's 110. There's no way that you and I can rank them. I think I understand why you have Deep Blue Sea 3 at 20, because it's really well made. The acting's all top-notch. There's some thrills, but it's not as, over-the-top bad as some of the ones you have in your top 10. And it's not like a Jaws or the original Deep Blue Sea or like a Shallow. So it fits this middle ground of very good movie, really well made. It's on a budget. It looks beautiful, but it's not Ghost Shark or it's not Jaws. Does that make sense? And that's why it kind of is at 20 on your list?
Sure, I think so. I mean, Deep Blue Sea, the first one, comes in at number 2. And I forget the number for Deep Blue Sea 2, but it's now, 59.
It's a lot
something
lower.
Like that. It's a lot lower. It's 62, I think. With Deep Blue Sea 3, my comments on it were that it's got a lot of memorable and innovative chomping, which is good because you really kind of wanted to eat the sharks to eat every single lead. And I feel that that didn't actually hold up entirely. Dr. Emma Collins does a great job. But boy, I was excited for Lucas to die, and I'm only sad he didn't get eaten by large sharks more quickly.
Yeah. I love how long it takes for Lucas to die, Jay. Lucas gets stabbed in the chest, then he gets the knife plunged into his chest, and I love it. He pulls like a 13-second death scene. And it's just, it reminds me of I don't know, it's a random scene in Role Models where one of the kids gets killed while LARPing and he just makes a big production of it. And that's kind of what this death reminded me of. And I loved it. Like, Bren Foster is kicking and milking it to the end. And I love his death scene.
There's a lot of good spin kicks.
Yeah.
To me, he comes back as like zombie Lucas almost when he like stumbles out of the, because he's basically half dead already. He's burned everywhere. Everywhere that the t-shirt is cut, he's got these big welts on his body. He's like bright red everywhere. He's like stumbling. He's badly injured. Then when the knife goes into the heart first time around, it almost kills him. But he kind of fights his way through it. And then that second time, it's proper zombie gurgling and stumbling and then face down. It's great.
So I'm just gonna pitch. We don't know that he's dead, right? Like, he didn't get devoured by a shark or anything. He just got a knife. Lucas, he seems like a guy who can survive a knife to the heart.
He survived a ship blowing up. He was on a boat. That boat blew up. He's still here.
Yeah, maybe he's just faking it. Maybe, like, he has some large pectorals, so it got wedged in there. It hit at a different angle, and then the part in the heart that it hit is not the important part in this world, because this is a different world from ours. So, maybe it just missed something, and he needs a second wind.
That's it.
He's Luke Wilson from Vacancy, who gets stabbed in the stomach and gets left there for like 8 hours. And then Kate Beckinsale comes back to him, and he goes, you're like, what? No, no. Like, that's this movie right here. Kate Beckinsale comes to the island. She's Dr. Emma Collins' sister, and Bren Foster wakes up after 2 days of bleeding out. It could happen.
It could happen.
I'm here for it, yeah.
Now, before we get any further, I just want to ask you, Kevin, have you seen Great White yet?
I have seen Great White.
That's like a number 88 on my list, if I had a list.
Oh, did you really not like it?
Not really.
Oh, I have it at number 35. My comments on it are drifting on a raft. At least one of them knows what they're doing. Formulaic but gorgeous.
It's well shot. The guy who directed it did commercials, and you could tell, like, he has an eye for visual flair.
Such a pretty movie. Yeah.
But once they get on the raft with the bad lighting, you have no clue where the lights are coming from on these people. And I know they have like a headlamp, but it's just, I don't know. And then there's the push fight on there, and a guy dies, and then like you feel bad for the Great Whites. You're like, stop killing them. Like, they didn't do anything wrong. I don't know. It's just, it's not bonkers. It's just suitably made. But the sharks, it's no reef. I don't know. I just think that they made some tactical shooting errors while making it. And I mean, listen, the actors all put in the work. They get it what's going on, but I can't. I don't know. I'm not a fan.
I'm going to argue that the shark is bioluminescent, and that's where the light's coming from. We liked it a little bit better than the reef, I think. I really like the fact that one of the people was competent. Like, he knew he was good at seamanship. They aimed their little raft for an island, and they actually managed to hit it, despite the fact that everybody else gets lost in the ocean and never sees land again. Yeah, I was a little. Should we spoil it? I don't want to spoil it.
I haven't seen it yet, so I'd rather you didn't.
All right. I'm not going to spoil it.
Thank you.
Overall, I think I enjoyed it, but I'm not going to rush out to see it. You're right that it's not bonkers. It goes for a more realistic thing, and it doesn't help that you don't necessarily love all the characters.
Just the studio shoot that they had with the very flat lighting coming from everywhere. I mean, that's not how Moonlight works. Maybe it's another universe. Maybe the moon works differently there, but. I just got to say it. Now, I was complaining about the lighting in that shot, and I'm going to jump to this. I think the end of this film with the three ladies on the boat, I think that's like one of the best shot scenes of the franchise. Mm-hmm. I love looking at that scene with Maya Nandi and Dr. Emma Collins on the boat. I love the framing of it. I love the lighting. I think all the actors tear it up. There's a real warmth. They all like each other. And when you're stuck with us now. Like, I really like that line, and they want to go like save the sea. It's a powerful moment. And Sally comes by. Mustang Sally.
Great White Sally.
Yeah, Great White Sally comes by. You have the surprise moment. Like, I'm really happy that Maya didn't jump out with a knife and stab Dr. Emma Collins, because
that'd be an ending.
Just stabs her right in the chest. No, Flack. That'd be nuts. But I think it's I think that might be one of the warmest. I think that's I know they just went through horrible things, and a lot of people with sleeveless shirts and V-necks were just murdered. I know corpses were desiccated, but I think it's beautiful, right? Like, isn't it not a really neat, different way to end this movie?
Overall, I thought the movie was really filmed beautifully. The scene where Richard dives off the boat and gets grabbed in midair, like you guys, I think, just caught me off guard, and it's framed beautifully. It's so well done. Yeah, this is beautiful. I'm not quite sure what Mia was thinking she was going to do. Right? Did she think there was a shark who was going to open up her wardrobe door? Or, I don't know.
Pirates.
Well,
it could be Lucas.
Yeah,
Lucas.
She doesn't know that. She thinks that Lucas, Els, and Sheila are all still alive. She's missed all of that. So.
Yeah, she did not see what happened to Earl.
Okay. Emma asks Mia what happened. That should be what Mia's asking Emma, because she's missed a lot. But I was thinking, like, no one here like saw the decapitation. That story is lost.
Oh.
Like, no one's here to tell it. It's only Shaw saw that, and he took that with him. So
you know what? Before I went out to get the drone in the soccer net, I'm like, listen, if I die, if I do the double, if I'm one of the only few people in shark movie history to pull up the double, let alone monster movie history, I'm doing the double. Know that I took that guy over there, Earls. He was on top of me. I rolled, lifting him in the air on my back. He got his head bit off. And then later on, I chummed the water with them and said, hey, chum, tell the world if I die. And then they're like, great, the shark swam away. Like, you can tell them now because it's over.
You've now caused Seamageddon because of your anecdote. Well done, Shaw.
Man, that's depressing, Jay. That's lost.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nandy's been flitting around in the background for the past half an hour, so she might have seen it. I don't know. But if she had, she still would be trying to recover from it, I think, because it was just immense.
But I think that Little Happy has closed circuit cameras here and there to keep and so it's recorded. They'll pick it up later.
As long as they're like streaming live somewhere at all times, that's what we need. Because Little Happy is no more. What's it?
Waterblog, is it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's probably a 24-hour feed for Waterblog.
I hope so. Yeah.
Whoa. If we were on that Little Happy, we're random surfers somewhere on that, and we could randomly come across this, and we see that, you're going to see me in the background with this, like my hands in the air with like a sign that says 10. Like, it's going to be like, that makes me really bummed out. I didn't even think about that. And also, I just want to say, since we're getting into the credits next week, it was really lost on me the first time I watched this movie that a shark was taken hostage. It wasn't until other people brought it up. Because the movie's so good and so believable that when a shark is held hostage in it, you're like, oh, okay, cool, makes sense. Yeah. But it's not later until you go, a shark was held at gunpoint, and the other sharks understood. That's... Oh.
When I went to Courtney and said, what chapter do you want? He was like, I want to be on the one with the shark hostage. And I went through the same thought process as you. I was like, oh yeah, a shark was held hostage in this film. I forgot about that.
I'd like to think that Bella taught her children how to read lips.
Yeah, exactly. It was just lost on me, that scene. But I gotta tell you, once again, just the warmth at the end of this shot makes me so happy. And I think Tanya Raymond, I think that might be like her best moment at the end with the three of them. Like, they have a real bond in that boat. And also, I love that there's a spin kick in a shark movie. But I also love that there's a headbutt in a shark movie. And I do this podcast series occasionally called Final Fights, where I talk about final fights in movies. And that headbutt made me think of Bobby Bass, who was the stunt coordinator on Lethal Weapon, who helped popularize the headbutt in movies. So before like 87, people were headbutting, but post 87, with Bobby Bass and Mel Gibson's epic headbutts in that film, there's an uptick in headbutting after that. So this is just like, you put together some of your favorite headbutts, like Fast 6.
Is that the one with The Rock headbutts the giant guy?
Yeah, he does a flying, like, dolphin-esque headbutt into somebody. That's
Does